Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Dear student, Assalamu alaikum. Today's our topic for the lecture is testing the goodness and validity of the coefficient estimated through ordinary least square. Yet now what you have done, we discuss it before discussing the tests. As we know that there are 4 stages of any econometric process. Stage 1 is formulation of the model, that is also called formulation of the maintained hypothesis. In this step we formulate the econometric model by identifying the variables of the model, by identifying the dependent and independent variable in the model, by identifying the sign of relationship among the dependent variable and the independent variables. Again, we also identify at this stage the nature of the model, that what type of model we will use to analyze the data. That may be a linear function, that may be linear log function, that may be a log function, that may be a single equation function, that may be simultaneous equation function, it may be an arch model, it may be a Garch model, it may be a logit or probit model, depends on the nature of our dependent variable and independent variables. The second stage of any econometric search is estimation of the model. As its name shows, that in this step of econometrical research we take data and we estimate the model, and we estimate the coefficient of the relationship among the dependent variable and independent variables. So yet now we have estimated the model and we have estimated the coefficients of the relationship. As we know that in simple OLS, ordinary least square method, there are only 2 coefficients. The one is beta naught and the other is beta 1, and the beta naught shows the intercept of the model, which is the value of the dependent variable with the absence of the any independent variable. Again, the beta 1, that is the slope of the model, which shows how much unit the dependent variable will change with the 1 unit change in the independent variable. And we have estimated both the beta naught and beta 1 yet, and now we are in the third phase, and third phase is testing the goodness, validity and reliability of the coefficient that we previously estimated. And the fourth stage is measuring the prediction power of the model. But we are in this lecture we will study the third stage of econometrical research, and that is testing the goodness, validity and reliability of the coefficient we have estimated. As we know that the coefficient we estimated through OLS model are estimated out of sample data, and we know that there are some errors and variation in the sample data. So it is mandatory that after estimating the model we have to test the validity, reliability and goodness of the model. And to test the reliability, goodness and significance model, we use 3 tests. There are 3 criteria that we use to evaluate the econometric model, estimated econometric model, or the coefficient that we have estimated through the OLS method. And these 3 methods are: number 1, theoretical priori criteria, number 2, statistical criteria, number 3, econometrical criteria. These are the three criteria that we use to evaluate any econometric model. Number 1, theoretical priori criteria. How we employ this criteria to judge the validity and significance of the coefficient estimated. As economic theory tells us about the nature of relationship among the dependent and independent variables. Here in the theoretical priori criteria, we employ the guidelines from the economic theory to test the significance of the coefficients. For example, the economic theory tells us on a priori basis that there is an inverse relationship between quantity demanded and the price of any commodity. Mean that whenever the price increases, quantity demand decreases, or vice versa. And again, the economic theory tells us that the intercept of the quantity demand is a positive figure, while the slope of the quantity demand have a negative sign. We evaluate the estimated quantity demand function on the basis of these priori information given by the economic theory. If our estimated demand function fulfill this criteria, we infer that we have valid estimates of the coefficient of relationship among the quantity demand and the price. Look at this figure here, the demand function that we have estimated. This is the demand function we have estimated. If we judge this demand function through our economic theory criteria, then we can say that the intercept has positive sign. Yes, of course, intercept is a positive sign. Again, the slope of the demand function is -2, which also state that it fulfills the requirement of economic theory. So we can infer that this demand function, which we have estimated through the ordinary least square, is valid. Again, the supply function, about the supply function, the economic theory tells us that the intercept is negative in the supply function. The intercept is negative, while the slope of the supply function is positive. We can see here the supply function where we see that the intercept is positive. Again, the intercept is positive as well as the slope is positive. In this case, we can state that we have ambiguity in the coefficients. The economic theory states that the intercept must be negative while the slope must be positive, mean that beta naught must be negative and beta 1 must be positive. Here we see that the supply function which we estimated, that beta naught is positive while the slope beta 1 is also positive. We can state that the slope fulfill the economic priori criteria while the intercept beta naught doesn't follow the basic economic criteria, and we can state that this supply function is invalid. There is some error while we are estimating the model, and we have to go back to the step 1 in estimation of the model, and we have to rectify the process of the estimation, and we have to rectify any fault we have done in the estimation, and we have to re-estimate the model, and we have to estimate such a model that is valid and that follow the economic priori criteria. This was the first test that we employ to test the significance of the estimated econometric model. Now there are the second criteria, that is called statistical criteria. We employ the statistical criteria or first order test criteria to gauge the significance, validity and reliability of the coefficient that we have estimated through ordinary least square. While evaluating the estimations, we use two type of statistical criteria. Number one is the test of goodness of fit, that is called R square, and the second one is standard error test for the testing of significance of the estimate. We will discuss in this lecture only the test of goodness of fit R square, and we will estimate the formula of the R square, while in the next lecture we will study the standard error tests for the testing of significance of the estimate. Now what is R square, through which we will test the goodness of the fit of the estimated model? Basically, if we define R square shows the percentage of total variation that are explained by the model. It means the total variation that come in Y, and what proportion of that variation is explained by the all independent variables of the model are explained by the model. Higher the percentage of the variation that are explained by the independent variable, the higher will be the R square, and the model will be good fit. Lower the variation that are explained by the independent variable and the model, the lower will be the R square, and the loose fit will be the model. So the R square shows the proportion of total variation that are explained by the model. The value of R square lies between 0 and 1, mean that the highest value for the R square will be 1 when 100% of the variation in the dependent variable are explained by the model. Again, the value of R square can be 0 when there is no variation explained by the model, right? And the value of R square cannot be negative, it is a positive value, but in some cases the R square may be turned into negative, but there are extraordinary situations when degree of freedom becomes very low. When degree of freedom become very low, usually we must have the degree of freedom at least twice of the coefficient estimated from the model. Mean that if you estimate from the model only two coefficients, that is beta naught and beta 1, then the degree of freedom must be twice of these two coefficients, and the degree of freedom is shown by n minus k. N is the total number of observation of the sample minus k. K is the total number of parameters that are estimated from the model. Now we study this model, this slide, to brief the R square. So R square is a goodness of fit, right, measure for the linear regression model Of course, it is used for linear regression model. It is a goodness of fit. What it show? This statistic indicate the percentage of variation in the dependent variable that independent variable explain collectively. There may be one independent variable for simple linear regression model, and there may be more than one independent variable for the multiple regression model. The R-square measure the strength of relationship between your independent variables and the dependent variable on a convenient 0 to 1 scale. What R-square show? The strength of relationship. What is the strength of relationship? If R-square is near 0, the strength of relationship is very low. If R-square is near 1, the strength of relationship will be very high. Again, the R-square shows the covariation between the dependent variables and independent variable. Covariation, common variation between independent and dependent variable, all independent variables, right? The larger the quantity of the common variation between the dependent variable and independent variables, the higher will be the R-square, and lower the common variation among the dependent and independent variables, the lowest will be the R-square, and the model will be loose fit or not good fit. Again, what is R-square? R-square, it is a non-negative quantity with range between 0 and 1. R-square is a quantity, right, that range between 0 and 1. 0 is less than equal to R-square and R-square is less than equal to 1, right? And R-square is equal to 0 implies that the regression line doesn't fit the data at all, mean that there is no practical relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. That independent variable don't affect the dependent variable. There is no effect. Again, R-square is equal to 1 implies that the regression line is perfectly fit. There is a perfect relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable, mean one-to-one relationship, mean the total variation of the dependent variable are explained by the independent variable, either it is a single independent variable or more than one independent variable, and the 0 represent the model that doesn't explain any of the variation in the response variable, that is termed as dependent variable around its mean. 1 represent model that explain all the variation in the response variable around its mean. Usually the larger the R-square, the better the regression model fits your observations. Now we want higher R-square, we want a best fit model, we want a good fit model, right? Higher the R-square, the goodness of fit will be high. Now we explain the R-square through a diagram and then by the graphs. Look at the next slide. We consider here that we have the simple linear regression where the R-square, that is also called coefficient of determination, and we explain the phenomena of R-square through our diagram. This is A, the A where R-square is 0. Look at these variation. These variation are variation in Y and these variation are variation in X. And we see here there are no common variation in X and Y. X and Y has no relationship, no connection at all. It's mean in this model, if we estimate the model and then calculate the R-square, the R-square will be equal to 0, which shows that X doesn't affect Y. Here we see in the model B, here there are some common variation. These are the common variation, right? And which shows that there is a smaller proportion of the variation which are common. It's mean here the R-square will be about 0.15 to 0.2, and the model will be loose fit. Again, here we see that the third model where we see here that there are a higher common variation between x and y, and the r square will be high, about 0.3 to 0.35. Here we see the perfect model where we see y is equal to x. It means the variation of y and x are equal, and 100% variation in the dependent variable y are explained by the independent variable x, and in this case if we calculate the r square will be equal to 1. Similarly, here we have just presented the formula of the r square. R square is equal to explained sum of square divided by total sum of square. The explained sum of square, that is shown by, we know that summation y cap square and divided by total sum of square, shown by summation y I square. So this is the basic formula of r square that we will derive in after two or three slides. R square is equal to explained sum of square divided by total sum of square, that is equal to ESS divided by TSS, that is equal to summation y cap small y. It is a small y, mind it, it is a small y, that is deviation, that means deviation, that's mean y I cap minus y mean. That doesn't. So this is the formula of the r square. Now we explain the phenomena of r square through some graph illustration of the case where r square is equal to 0, right? And here we see that on the horizontal axis there is a x, while on the vertical axis there is a y, and we see the regression line. We see here the regression line, that is horizontal. It's mean that the horizontal line mean that x has practically no impact. Along with the increase in x, we see here x is increasing here. Along with the increase in x, the y has no impact. Along with the increase in x, it has no impact on y. It's mean they have no common variation. X cannot explain any percent of variation in the y. So here the r square will be equal to 0. Again we see here that this is a positive relation, showing a positive relationship between x and y, right? This is the regression line which we have estimated now, and we see that that is a good fit model, that is more than a good fit model, that is more than best fit model. We see here that all the pairs of x and y that coincide with that regression line that we have estimated, that is y cap, that we have estimated. So we see here that all points coincides with the regression line, and here the relationship between the covariances or the common variation between x and y will be very high, and the r square of the model is here about 0.95, that is the best model. Again we see here that here is the perfect relationship between x and y. We see here that the x and y, x is equal to y, the variation in x are equal to the variation in y, and the x, that is independent variable, explain the 100% variation in the y. We see that y is equal to function of x, right, and y is a perfect function of x. We can write again y is equal to x is all the variation of y are equal to x. So the r square is 1, that is a perfect r square. Explain y, all variation in the y are explained by the x, right? Now our topic is now we want to derive the formula of the R square now. For that we use the PDF file. We have a PDF file from where we will do a step-by-step derivation of the R square, and we have the file now, and this is the file right now. So we start with the basic equations. We start with that equation number 1, that EI is equal to capital YI minus Y hat. Here EI is small e, right, that are residuals. That is the difference between the actual observation minus estimated. YI is the actual population observation or population regression line, and Y cap is that line that we have estimated through sample data. So EI is the error, that is the error between the actual and the estimated, right? So EI, what EI shows the deviation of observation YI from the regression line. This is the regression line that we have estimated, right? And this is the actual regression line. Again, the second equation is small yi. Look at this small yi. This is small yi. And there is a difference between capital YI and small yi. Capital YI shows the actual observations, while the small yi shows deviation from the arithmetic mean. Here the small yi is deviation from actual arithmetic mean, capital YI in observation minus Y mean, deviation of the YI from its mean. And the third one is Y cap. Here we see that this is Y cap I, that is equal to Y cap is small y cap, that is in deviation form, that is estimated regression line, that is estimated value of y, that small yi shows its deviation from the arithmetic mean, that is equal to yi cap, that is capital Y, that is estimated regression line, deviation of the regressed value of from mean. But this is the regressed value of y, and its deviation from the mean are represented by yi cap, small yi cap. Rearranging the equation number 2 and equation number 3, we get that from here we solve it for capital YI, and capital YI here equal to small yi plus y mean. And again we solve the equation number 3 for the yi cap. Here yi cap is equal to small yi cap plus y mean. Putting the values of yi and yi cap in equation number 1 in this equation, right? So we have the equation number 1 now. Equation number 1 is EI is equal to yi minus y cap. We have put the values of yi and yi cap. Here is a yi. EI is equal to small yi plus y mean minus y cap I plus y mean, and multiplying by this negative sign, we have small yi plus y mean minus small yi cap minus y mean. This y mean and minus y mean and plus y mean has crossed, and we have the residual that EI is equal to small yi minus small yi cap, and that is the basic equation. That is the basic equation which shows the relationship between the total variation and the explained and the unexplained variation. This yi are the total variation in the dependent variable. Total variation in the dependent variable, and this total variation in the dependent variable has two components. This y cap I, these are those variation in the dependent variable that are explained by the model, that are explained by our model, and this ei is those variation in the dependent variable that are not explained, that cannot be explained by the model. Equation number 4 shows the total deviation of the observed value of yi from its mean consists of two components. This is one component 1, that is explained variation explained by the regression line. Ei are the unexplained variation, the variation of dependent variable that are unknown. Now we take summation to the equation number 1, and we have this equation summation yi, that is the sum of the total variation is equal to the sum of the explained variation and the sum of the unexplained variation. Taking square of the equation, and we have got this equation now. Summation yi square means sum of the square of the total variation, that is equal to the sum of these two variation. And now we open this square. We open the square by the simple formula, square of the first component, square of the second component, and 2 into first and second component. So the square of the first component is equal to summation yi cap square plus summation ei square plus 2 summation yi and ei. Here this component becomes 0, as we know that summation y cap I e is equal to 0. But how it becomes 0? Now we will prove this in this lecture, that how summation phi I cap e is equal to 0. We know that now we have just studied that yi cap is equal to small yi cap is equal to capital yi cap minus y mean, right? While we have also previously studied that yi cap is equal to beta naught cap plus beta 1 cap x. This is the estimated regression line that we have estimated through ordinary least square, right? Y cap, this is component of y I cap, and y mean, this is the y mean. This component y mean is equal to beta naught plus beta naught cap plus beta 1 cap x mean. This is the, again, this is the mean of y that is estimated. Putting the value of yi cap and y in the equation v. Where is the equation v? We have this is termed as equation v here. So we put the values, no, equation vi, sorry, this is equation vi, this is equation vi, right? We put the values of y I cap and y mean in this equation vi, and putting the value of yi cap and y in the equation, we put first small yi cap is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 cap x minus beta naught plus beta 1 cap x mean, right? Multiply this negative sign into the brackets. We have negative beta naught negative beta 1 x. This beta 1 is crossed with the negative beta 1, and we have the reminder that yi cap is equal to beta 1 cap x minus beta 1 cap x mean. Beta 1, we can take beta 1 common now, and yi cap is equal to beta 1 into x minus x mean. This is the deviation from the arithmetic mean, and we represent this by small x, that can be represented by small x. So x minus x mean is equal to small xi, right? So y cap is equal to, that is the, now we have derived y cap is equal to beta 1 cap x. Keep in mind that we are doing this all process to prove that summation y cap e is equal to 0. We are proving this one now, and from yet we have derived the value of y cap, and now we derive the value of e, and then we will multiply them. And so as we have defined that r square determine the proportion of proportion of total variation in y char. No, this is not the page, sorry for that. Yes, yet we have derived the value of yi cap, which is equal to beta 1 x, and now we are explaining the other component, that is ei. Ei is equal to small yi minus small yi cap, while yi cap is equal to beta 1 x. Putting the value in the ei, that is equal to yi minus yi cap, so ei is equal to y minus beta 1. Now putting the value of yi cap that we have derived, that is equal to beta 1 x, and ei value in the summation y cap e to prove it to be equal to 0. Summation y cap e is equal to summation beta 1 x, that is the value of y cap, and this is the value of e, that is y minus beta 1 x I. Multiplying both these values, and we have find that we multiply beta 1 cap x to yi, that become beta 1 cap x yi minus beta 1 cap x into beta 1 cap x, that is the square of beta 1 and x square. Beta 1 become, by taking beta 1 common and multiplying the summation inside, beta 1 become common, summation multiply, that it will become summation x yi minus beta 1, it was square of beta 1 beta 1 become common, and beta 1 summation x I square. And from here we know that beta 1 cap is equal to summation x y divided by summation xi square. Putting the value of this beta 1 here in the place of this beta 1, so beta 1 cap into summation xi yi minus putting the values of the beta 1 cap, summation xi yi divided by xi square into summation xi square. Now this summation xi square and this summation xi square will be crossed with each other, and summation yi summation yi summation y cap I ei is equal to beta 1 cap into summation x1 x I minus summation x I. This term will become 0, and the whole term summation y cap I into ei will be equal to 0. Now from here we can deduce that when that term become equal to 0, the equation number 5 will become this, that the sum of square of total variation, this is sum of square of total variation, that is y capital yi minus y mean square, sum of square of total variation is equal to the sum of square of explained variation plus sum of square of unexplained variation. And this is the basic equation that we will use in future, like to derive the formula of r square and many other places, where summation yi square total variation independent variable, sum of square of the total variation independent variable, summation yi cap square sum of square of explained variation in the model, and summation ei square, that is sum of square of unexplained variation. Now by the definition of r square is the proportion of total variation that are explained mathematically. It can be explained as r square is equal to summation summation y cap I square divided by summation yi square. And what is summation yi cap square? Explained variation, sum of square of the explained variation. We can write it sum of square of explained variation, and divided by sum of square of total variation, that we can write here, that r square is equal to sum of square of explained variation divided by sum of square of total variation. So the formula is here, and now we can put the value of y cap I in the model, small y cap I in the model, and we know that y cap, that previously we have proved that y cap is equal to beta 1 x, beta 1 cap x, putting the value of this one instead of y cap I, so it will become summation beta 1 cap x square divided by summation yi square. Now here r square is equal to summation beta 1 cap square into x square divided by y square. We have opened that square, right, and we can write this one is r square is equal to beta 1 cap square into summation xi square divided by summation yi square. And from here we know that beta 1 cap is equal to summation small x I yi divided by small summation small xi square, and we put the value of beta 1 here in this beta 1 square, and that will become r square is equal to summation xy square xi yi square divided by summation xi square whole square again square, and into summation xi square divided by summation yi square. From here we see here that 1 xi square will be cut with the 1 xi square, and the remaining will be summation xi square, and the formula of r square now become r square is equal to summation xi yi square divided by summation xi square and summation yi square. This is the formula now of r square, where the x and y are small xy which are in deviation terms. So we have derived the formula for r square, and we can look this formula that it is resembled with the formula of r, and we have studied the formula of r, that is summation xi yi divided by summation xi square under root into summation yi square under root. This was the formula of r, that is the simple correlation coefficient, and we see that the formula that we have derived is the square of the r, and of course it is r square, and if we square this r, then we see here this will become summation xi yi square, and this will become summation xi square and summation yi square, and there is a resemblance between the formula of r and r square. Now we explain this formula in detail in the light of what we have studied about. So as we have defined the r square, determine the proportion of total variation in dependent variable which are explained by the independent variable. R square is also called coefficient of determination. The value of r square lies between 0 and 1, as we have previously studied. The higher the r square, the good fit will be the model, and we have seen r square less than 0.5 bad fit model, and if r square is greater than 0.6, the model will be good fit. If r square is greater than 0.8, the model will be bad fit. Again we can say that the value of r square lies between 0 and 1, and as it can be proved from the basic equation that we have previously derived, that summation small yi square is equal to summation yi cap square plus summation ei square. It means the sum of square of total variation is equal to sum of square of explained variation plus sum of square of unexplained variation. Divide this basic equation by sum of the square of total variation, that is summation yi square, summation yi square divided by summation yi square, that is equal to summation yi cap square divided by summation yi square plus summation ei square divided by summation yi square. Now this will be crossed with that and will become 1, and here is summation yi cap square divided by summation yi square plus summation ei square divided by summation yi square, where this one is r square, this one is r square. So we can write it 1 is equal to r square plus summation ei square divided by summation yi square, that is r square is equal to 1 minus sum of square of unexplained variation as a proportion of the total variation, right? So this is a very good equation, that r square is equal to 1 minus summation ei square divided by summation yi square, that is sum of square of unexplained variation divided by sum of square of total variation. This is all about the r square. Inshallah, our next lecture is about statistical test of significance, where we use 3 type of test to evaluate the validity and reliability of the model, and these 3 tests will be standard error test, that comprises the t-test and the z-test, and the second one is confidence interval test, and the third one is p-test. Inshallah, we will meet in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.